Fox News contributor Leo 2.0 Terrell, the host of the Larry Elder Show. Larry Elder. You both know that my kids are into sports. I love Djokovic. I've actually met him. I was actually a line judge in a match that he had at John McEnroe's Tennis Academy in New York, and I totally cheated on behalf of the local player. And he looked at me after I made a horrible call. He goes, "That's the way it's going to be," and I said, "Yep." But it was pretty funny. But the fact is, you know, I thought the pandemic was over, Leo. Why are we not letting one of the world's greatest athletes, their body, their health is their income? Why are they, at this late date, doing something this discriminatory and this dumb to one of the world's greatest athletes?
Because we have the Democrats in office and they're playing by a game of rules that Djokovic doesn't want to play. This is one of the healthiest men on the planet. He's had the virus. He has natural immunity. And the situation is very obvious. If he crossed the border, goes across the border, he can get in. He can play the game. But he can't play the game because he's not part of the Democratic hierarchy. Djokovic stood by his principles by saying that he did not want to get the vaccine, and the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, they're punishing him for that.
I mean, it's so discriminatory, Larry. It makes me so angry because you're really denying the people of Miami and then at the U.S. Open, I would assume sometime in the summer and early fall, the opportunity to see one of the world's best athletes. Why? You know, I thought the pandemic was over, Joe said.
Yeah. I'm a huge tennis buff as well, Sean. This is the greatest tennis player, arguably, in history. And when I ran for governor, CNN spent a lot of time interviewing me and asked me about the vaccine mandates. And I said, young people do not need to be vaccinated. They're not likely to get sick. If they do, they're not likely to get really sick. And they're certainly not likely to be hospitalized and not likely to die. And they said, well, that's not true, according to the CDC, yada, blah, et cetera. Now, Lancet has basically agreed with me, has said that natural immunity is as good as, if not better, than the vaccine. And get this, Sean, if you play in the Miami Open and you haven't been vaccinated, that's okay. You just can't come in the country and play. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. They're not following the science. It's, again, dictated from high. Never mind what the science says. Just do what we tell you. It's about government control.
Larry, I'll give you the first crack at Gavin Newsom cutting off the state and their relationship with Walgreens over the abortion pill. I mean, he has every right to have his own personal views, but what about freedom? What about liberty? He said to Ron DeSantis, oh, we're the free state of California. No, I don't think so.
Well, what happened is Walgreens got a letter from 20 state attorneys general and said, you can't use the mail to sell the abortion pill in our state. So they have a legal and a fiduciary obligation to comply with that. Imagine if we're the other way around. Imagine if governors of red states said, you know, we're not going to do any more state business with Walgreens because Walgreens is kowtowing to California and allowing the abortion bill to be sold in those states. They would be screaming on high, claiming that this was liberal fascism. Well, this was conservative fascism. Well, this is liberal fascism, one in a continuing series of things that this governor has done, up to and including banning the sale of new gas-powered cars by 2035. And Leo and I could go down the litany of all the things that this fascist liberal governor has done.
Will this guy ever make the run? Do you think, Leo, that Gavin Newsom, we all know he's ambitious. We all know he wants to measure the drapes at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Anyway, do you think he is planning to run against Joe Biden? Because I believe he is.
Let me tell you, he wants to, Sean, and here's the good news. Not a single Democratic governor has ever been successful winning the White House. That's the good news. But this guy has checked out after he won re-election. He's a lame duck governor. His only ambition in life now is to run for president. While we had a horrific storm in Southern California, people still under the snow, this guy is vacationing. He doesn't care about California. He doesn't care about the crime situation. He wants to be president, nothing else. And he has basically mentally checked out of California. I hope he runs because that tells me that we're going to have Donald Trump or a Republican in the White House in 2024.
Yeah! Well, I think he got a lot of support. Larry, you know, defund, dismantle, no bail laws. I'll run the tape again. This is a restaurant and all hell breaks loose in New York. How much damage have they done now to businesses? Because people are not safe. We have about 30 seconds.
Well, the number one responsibility of government is to protect people and property, and it's not happening. And in California, Sean, 500,000 people have left the state in the last 2 years, about the same number of people that have gone to Florida, in part because of the crime, high cost of living, bad schools, and the COVID lockdowns. The people are voting with their feet, and they will continue to do so.
Yeah, well said. Larry, thank you. Leo, thank you. When we come back, hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.